Nick Pivetta has officially declined the qualifying offer from the Boston Red Sox. I'll tell you exactly why this is good for Boston on today's Locked On Red Sox.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Hurlbut, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part is it's all completely free. So you might as well tune in because Locked On is your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Happy Friday. Welcome to the show. Congratulations on making it through another week. And what's the best part about it? Next week is a short week with the Thanksgiving holiday. So I hope you're all prepped and ready to go for what should be a lovely holiday this year, spent with friends and family or whomever you choose to celebrate the holiday with some solid sports on and great food and company. Just a great all-around holiday. It really is a great time of year right now with the holidays and with free agency ramping up and players getting set to negotiate with teams. And speaking of free agency, Nick Pivetta is now a free agent as he officially declined the qualifying offer from the Boston Red Sox. So I'm going to be talking about that on today's show, as well as Japanese highly regarded pitcher Roki Sasaki. Who exactly is he, and could he be a fit in Boston? And finally, going to be talking about how much pressure truly is on Craig Breslow to absolutely kill it this offseason. So we've talked a lot about Nick Pivetta on the show and whether he's somebody who's worth keeping around for the Red Sox or not next season and maybe even beyond. And a lot of the conversation that I have had with other Red Sox fans, we've come to the decisive decision that Pivetta isn't worth keeping around because, yes, if he was still here, he would be a nice depth option to have to maybe throw into the rotation if needed or to pitch out of the pen if needed. But this is an offseason in which the Red Sox need to focus on fixing the top of the rotation and shoring up that lockdown number one starter that they can put at the top. And with them being able to have the opportunity this offseason with the money that they have to work with to go out and get a pitcher like that, it wasn't really worth keeping Nick Pivetta because the qualifying offer was for 1 year for around $21 million. And Pivetta, to me, isn't worth keeping around for 1 year for $21 million when there are other holes in this roster that the Red Sox needed to fill. So I was initially surprised that the Red Sox even made him the qualifying offer in the first place. I thought they maybe wouldn't even extend it. But the good thing about them extending him the qualifying offer was that they get a compensatory draft pick because he declined it. He was one of 13 players across the league who was extended a qualifying offer. And if you don't know what a qualifying offer is, essentially it's a 1 year deal worth the average salary of MLB's 125 highest paid players. So they take the top 125 paid players across the league and take the average of all of those contracts to determine how much money it would be. And it's always a 1 year deal. And teams can extend qualifying offers to pending free agents as long as that player has never received a qualifying offer before and spent the entire season on that team's roster. And if a player declines the offer and signs with another team, their original team will receive a draft pick as compensation. So the Red Sox likely won't sign him because his reasoning for declining the qualifying offer in the first place was that he feels like he can get more money and a bigger deal if he explores free agency. And the Red Sox, I don't think were really serious about keeping him. So I don't see them wanting to extend him for a few more years for an offer. So I think it's pretty safe to say that he'll end up going elsewhere. And that means that the Red Sox will get a compensatory draft pick in return. And compensatory picks can be extremely valuable. Both Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell, who rank number 1 and 24 currently on Baseball America's top 100 prospects list, were selected with compensatory picks acquired after losing Eduardo Rodriguez and Xander Bogaerts. So obviously getting those two guys from compensatory picks benefited the Red Sox. So they could get a great stud young prospect in this deal. So the Red Sox decision to extend Pivetta a qualifying offer, it came as a little bit of a surprise, primarily because of the money attached. The most he's ever earned in a season is $7.5 million. So he could have nearly tripled his salary by accepting the offer. And it's also no sure thing that he'll land a deal worth more than $21 million annually on the open market. So he could have easily taken the higher short-term dollars in hopes of handing a lucrative long-term deal in free agency next winter rather than taking the gamble now. So it was a dice roll for the Red Sox, because if he accepted the qualifying offer, that means he's around for next season and the Red Sox have to pay him that $21 million, which quite frankly, I don't see being worth it, especially on a one-year deal when they're trying to dish out money elsewhere on big-time players to come into this Red Sox team and help them improve next year. So it was a dice roll, but I think the Red Sox were banking on him declining it because they knew that Pivetta's market would be hot this offseason. So they knew that he likely would decline it and pursue free agency anyway. So they did it with the risk of knowing he could accept it and they'd have to pay him that $21 million. But they were really banking on him declining it so they can get the compensatory pick when he most likely goes elsewhere. His market has developed to a point where it made sense for him to cash in now, and it benefits both sides. It was just time for both sides at this point to part ways. Since joining the Red Sox in 2020, he's established himself as a pretty durable pitcher and a reliable mid-rotation starter. He's posted a 4.29 ERA over 633 innings as a member of the Red Sox, which was by far the most on the team over that stretch. And over the last 2 seasons, he's emerged as one of the game's most overpowering arms, posting 355 strikeouts over 288.1 innings since the start of 2023. So that resume doesn't scream eye-popping, most dominant pitcher ever type of numbers, but it should make him an attractive option for teams looking to bolster their rotation depth. And he's projected to receive a 3-year deal for about $48 million this winter. If that does come to pass, then Pivetta would ensure himself long-term job and financial security. And should he sign anywhere but Boston, the Red Sox would also earn themselves that additional draft pick while opening a rotation spot to potentially add an ace. So it really does benefit both sides here, the fact that Pivetta declined it. And honestly, Craig Breslow deserves credit here because he knew that Pivetta was going to have a hot market, and he knew more so than a lot of people when it came to figuring out what's best for the Red Sox and for Pivetta, because a lot of people were questioning why they even extended the qualifying offer to Pivetta. And at the end of the day, knowing everything we know now, I think he is going to sign elsewhere, and it will be with a team that has their top of the rotation shirt up, and they just need some depth to add to that middle of the rotation. Like, I think the Orioles could be a fit. I could see him going somewhere like that, where they don't really have a full completed pitching rotation, but they have those top starters in there that are going to help them get the job done. And now you likely take out Corbin Burns, so they're going to need even more depth there. So I definitely wish Pivetta the best of luck. I do appreciate his time in Boston, but he was never going to be more than a mid-level starter. So the Red Sox don't really need to pay another mid-level starter. They need to save their money on paying an ace, and they have some mid-level starters already in Brian Bayo right now, and presumably what Lucas Giolito is probably going to be when he comes back, because it would be a little unrealistic and unfair to expect him to be an ace caliber starter when he's been removed from the game for as long as he have. So for the Red Sox, they don't really need Nick Pivetta here, and they got something out of it, because if they didn't extend him the qualifying offer, he would have just walked and been a free agent, and then they don't even get the draft pick, and he might sign elsewhere, and the Red Sox get nothing. So at least they're getting something out of it now, and it leaves room on that pitching rotation staff for the Red Sox to additionally add somebody that can hopefully be a no doubt about it number one ace caliber starter that the Red Sox can have and be excited about to throw in that rotation for them. So props all around here to Breslow, to Pivetta. I wish him the best of luck wherever he goes. His time in Boston was definitely overall good, and he proved to be durable, reliable, and not injury prone, which I really liked. So he'll definitely go somewhere. But him parting ways with Boston was definitely the right decision on both sides. And coming up, I'm going to be talking about another pitcher who's highly anticipated on the open market this year. Who exactly is he? You're going to find out. If you're looking for cheaper tickets to sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, you name it, any live event that you like going to, you can get tickets to all of those events through Gametime. I love going to musicals, and recently I went to see a musical, and I even saw tickets for that musical on Gametime. So they really have everything. It's not even just sporting events, but even if you just love going to sporting events, no matter what it is or where it is, Gametime absolutely will save your life and a lot of money. Plus, Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I love going to live events, and Gametime has served me so well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Gametime has you covered for all your ticketing service needs. So you definitely should check it out if you're planning to go to an event soon, which I'm sure you probably are. And if not, you should be, because they're fun. Nick Pivetta officially declined the qualifying offer from the Red Sox at Tuesday's deadline. So he is officially now a free agent and can negotiate with any ball club, including the Red Sox, but the Red Sox likely won't bring him back. If they did want to bring him back, they would have just extended him to a longer deal. So it works out for both sides. And as teams navigate through this whole free agency situation and figuring out what it's going to look like for them, who are they going to bring in? Who's going to be the guy that can nail down that pitching rotation and be that number one starter that the Red Sox are looking for? The answer could be in a international pitcher, a guy who's not even being talked about as much and is in the US, and that is Roki Sasaki, who is a Japanese pitcher who is being posted and will be joining Major League Baseball before the 2025 season. The Chiba Lotte Marines, which is his Nippon professional baseball team, announced that they will post the 23-year-old under the collective bargaining agreement. Because he's under 25, he will qualify as an international amateur free agent. He has the chance to be perhaps the greatest pitcher ever to come from NPB, which is the highest level of baseball in Japan, and pitch for a Major League Baseball team. In 4 seasons with Chiba Lotte, Sasaki has compiled a 2.02 ERA, 11.4 strikeouts per 9 innings, and 2.0 walks per 9 innings, while allowing just 6.0 hits per 9 innings. He made a big splash on the international stage by striking out 11 batters over 7 2/3 innings in the 2023 World Baseball Classic on a Japan staff that included Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So he already has familiarity with some guys who are playing currently in Major League Baseball. He's 6'3", future frontline starter with the potential to have 3+ power pitches. He can run his fastball up to 102 miles an hour, a four-seamer that averaged almost 99 miles an hour in 2023, and an average that dipped to 96.8 miles an hour in 2024. He complements the heater with an absolutely filthy splitter that averaged 88.2 miles an hour in 2024, and it generated a whiff rate north of 57% this past season. He kills spin with it and it falls off the table. Plus, he has his slider that averaged 83.6 miles an hour in 2024 that also misses a lot of bats with a 40.7% whiff rate last year. He has an ideal projectable lean and athletic frame and throws a ton of strikes, though he's control over command right now. He has number one starter potential because he has mastered these three pitches to a T, though there are some questions about his velocity dipping on all three of his pitches from 2023 to 2024, and whether that's going to be a huge concern when he goes into Major League Baseball. If they're going to continue to dip and he's going to get into this trend and not be able to be as successful, or if it was just a down year for him in terms of his velocity. So that's something to keep an eye on. So in terms of how exactly the posting system works, so essentially in a nutshell, any player in NPB who wants to become an international free agent before accumulating 9 years of experience can ask to be posted for MLB clubs by his Japanese team. Under the current rules, the release fee Chiba Lotte can get would be 20% of the total guaranteed value of the contract Sasaki signs. For contracts with a total guaranteed value of $25 million or less, the release fee will be 20% of the total guaranteed value of the contract. His contract will fall under that $25 million threshold because at age 23, he's subject to international bonus pool money restrictions as he's under 25 and has less than 6 seasons of service time in a foreign league recognized by MLB. So essentially, we won't be seeing a Yamamoto type of deal here, which was 12 years for $325 million. This is similar to when Ohtani came here in 2017 when he received a bonus of $2.3 million from the Angels. So he does have restrictions, so it won't be this crazy deal like we saw with Yamamoto, but he'll still get decent money to play in Major League Baseball. And all 30 MLB clubs have 45 days to negotiate with a player after he is posted. If no agreement is reached in that time frame, the player returns to his NPB club for the coming season. He cannot be posted again until the following offseason. So in that 45-day span, he has to reach an agreement with somebody in order to play in Major League Baseball the next year. Depending on when he's officially signed, his contract would fall under either the 2024 international signing period, which ends on December 15th, or the 2025 period, which opens on January 15th. If he's posted before December 2nd, he could only sign during the 2024 period since the 45-day negotiating window would expire before the 25 signing period begins. But if he were to be posted between December 2nd to 15th, he could sign during either period, though he'd only have until December 15th to negotiate a deal for the 24 period. So there is a time frame here that teams have to follow, but when you work with a player like this, there are always risks because you don't know if his skills are going to translate over to Major League Baseball that you saw when they were in the Japanese league. And that's why the Dodgers took a huge risk when they signed Yamamoto and offered him as much money as they did. Because obviously, yes, he pitched well with the Dodgers in 2024, but you don't really know what you're going to get out of a player like that when you bring him in. So it was a risky move to do anyway. So the top 5 teams based on remaining 2024 international bonus pool with likelihoods to sign Sasaki are the Dodgers with $2,502,500, Orioles at $2,147,300, Yankees at $1,487,200, Giants at $1,247,500, and Red Sox at $990,000. If he waits until the 2025 signing period to come to terms, then essentially all 30 teams' bonus pools would theoretically reset. But depending on teams' plans for the upcoming period, the landscape might not be that different. Teams do have the potential to trade for additional bonus pool funds that could help augment any bonus offer. But basically, those are the top 5 teams that we're looking at right now. And the Red Sox could be a fit for him. Why? Because their biggest priority this offseason is to find quality pitching. So they are going to be willing to spend money on pitchers. And they're currently talking with multiple proven MLB starters who are all-stars and Cy Youngs. But he could be someone that the Red Sox pursue because he's going to prioritize stability, lifestyle, and a team's track record with player development in making his decision. And the Red Sox do have a promising pitching program under Andrew Bailey and their leadership team of manager Alex Cora and chief baseball officer Craig Breslow, along with minority owner Theo Epstein working behind the scenes, could provide a solid foundation for him to be able to truly grow and develop in a system that has a good thing going for them right now on the developmental side. The Red Sox should try to secure him, as they've already shown a lot of interest when Craig Breslow personally went with the scouts to see Sasaki pitch. So I definitely think they're going to try, and he could be the future ace for the Red Sox for at least 15 years now. And you could pair him with that big 4 of prospects that are going to be coming up, and the Red Sox could have a very scary baseball team that could be 100% worth watching for years to come. So obviously, yes, they need an ace. Obviously, yes, he's coming from the Japanese league, so it could be a little bit risky because you don't really know exactly what you're getting from him. But all the reports are saying that this guy is really special and he could end up being one of the best we've ever seen, if not the best to come out of the Japanese league. So that has to be taken seriously. And I think when you're the Red Sox, you need to listen to that report and say, okay, there is something special about this guy. And the fact that the Red Sox personally went to watch him pitch means that they definitely are probably in on him, I would think, and are at least going to try to negotiate something with him. And if you take their history of having a lot of successful players come through the Red Sox organization, all the winning they've done in the 2000s, and the development that they've done over the last few years and the solid foundation and core they've built, he could be intrigued by Boston if he wants to go to a team where he knows he's going to actually develop on top of having a chance to win. So I wouldn't rule the Red Sox out. They could be a fit, and this could end up being a situation where he has lots of teams after him. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised if the Red Sox come up short, but I would be happy if they sign him. I just still think if they sign him, they need to also sign somebody else and bring in another pitcher or trade for somebody that they also know is a bona fide ace. So that way there's less risk that he becomes the one guy and doesn't pan out. So we'll have to see what happens there, but the decisions on all of these come from Craig Breslow, who does the negotiations. So coming up, how much pressure exactly is on Breslow this offseason? You'll find out. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. If you're looking to win lots of money and have a way to incorporate it into your sports love, look no further than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. There's been a lot of talk about the Red Sox theoretical offseason, what we'd like to see them do, what they should do, and what our dream scenarios would be. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it is none of our decision to figure out what the Red Sox do. The decision falls on Craig Breslow and the rest of the Boston Red Sox front office. And like I talked about before, I give Breslow credit for the whole situation with Nick Pivetta and the qualifying offer, because he seemed to know and understand that Pivetta would have a hot market in free agency. So he knew, okay, if I offer him the qualifying offer, he's likely going to turn it down anyway, because he'll have a stronger market as a free agent and he can go and find a different opportunity for a bit of a longer term deal elsewhere. So he was able to get something out of it, which was a compensatory draft pick, because Pivetta declined, and he'll end up likely signing somewhere else. So that was step one of the offseason that Breslow kind of aced. So is that a good sign for the rest of his offseason? I hope so, because Breslow has a lot to prove right now. And what he has to prove is, does he have the ability to recognize and sign the correct players, or trade for the correct players, the players that the Red Sox need to have on this roster in order to get themselves back into contention in 2025? Does he have the capability to evaluate players the right way, to put the right guys into the mix to have the Red Sox be more successful next season? Is Breslow somebody who can execute the right trades? Because he struggled on some of his trades during 2024. So does he have the ability to pull the trigger when the package seems right? And can he identify the types of players he should be trading for, so that they don't come to Boston and be a complete bust like Luis Garcia and Lucas Sims that he got at the trade deadline, or even Danny Jansen? He needs to have a big offseason this year, and there is a lot of pressure on him, because you know why? If he doesn't have a good offseason this year, the blame will be placed on him. Because say the front office as a whole is saying what they're saying about how this offseason is going to be different. They've heard the fans. They're ready to go all in for the 2025 team. Say that all happens, and say that the ownership group is like, okay, yeah, you can go out and spend money. And Breslow goes out and dishes out these contracts, and then he maybe trades for a player or two that he feels fits in with the Red Sox, and then those players don't pan out. Then people are going to immediately jump to the conclusion that Breslow has no idea what he's doing. And anything that goes wrong with this team or these players is automatically going to fall on him. And yes, I've said so many times that ownership decides how much money they're going to spend, and they decide if they're going to break open the checkbook or not. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Breslow needs to be able to negotiate and needs to be able to execute trades that hit on his side. And a lot of the trades that they made during the 2024 season didn't exactly hit on the Red Sox side. So this is a big offseason for Breslow, especially because he's still new to his position within the Red Sox organization, and people are still trying to feel out what he's actually going to be and figure out what type of opinion they're going to have of him in his current role as president of baseball operations. And people don't really know exactly how to feel, because there's still a sense of unfamiliarity when it comes to Breslow. But this offseason is going to be when a lot of people make those final conclusions on the way they're looking at Breslow and how they feel about him being in the role that he's in. If they feel like he's somebody who can execute the right things and make the right moves and press the right buttons. Because you know what? Honestly, at the end of the day, the Red Sox need somebody in that role, especially over the next couple seasons while they're trying to get themselves back into contention, who's going to be able to make moves effectively. And so he's absolutely on the hot seat right now, because if he gets the green light from ownership and he still is unable to execute in the right way, then it is going to look like it's more on him. Because yes, we can blame ownership all we want for not being able to get out of their own way and say, okay, we should be spending more money, for being stuck in their ways and having a tight leash when it comes to their payroll and what they're giving out for contracts. That all is 100% on ownership. But if they're really doing what they're telling us they're doing, which is being more willing to go out there and be aggressive this offseason, that means they've probably given Breslow more permission to go out there and make the big moves this offseason. And that is relevant because if that is the case, and he did do that, and they got the green light to send Breslow out to make moves that will benefit the team, then he needs to go out and do that. He needs to go out and execute, and he needs to make the right moves and not hold anything back if ownership is letting him do that. And if he trades for a pitcher, say, for example, he trades for Garrett Crochet, and then Crochet doesn't end up panning out in Boston, then that's going to be a major issue because the anticipated package for Garrett Crochet is going to be heavy. He's going to have to give up a lot of key pieces in order to get Crochet here. So it'll be a really bad look on him and the Red Sox if they get Crochet here and he doesn't pan out in Boston. So Breslow needs to show that he has an understanding of the types of players that he should be bringing into Boston and the types of players that will pan out here likely, and he needs to have that ability to identify that type of talent. So there is a ton of pressure on Breslow. I think the most pressure on him out of anybody heading into this offseason here as players start to negotiate deals and everything. So we'll have to see if he takes that pressure and runs with it or if he completely folds under the pressure. But either way, all eyes are on Craig Breslow, and I hope he takes that and embraces it and executes things the right way. I appreciate you tuning in to Locked On Red Sox and making it your first listen today. Next, you should check out Locked On MLB with host Paul Sullivan, aka Sully, who will keep you up to date on all things going on across Major League Baseball. So if you want to know what's going on with the other teams around the league, you can check out his show on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts right after this. I highly recommend it. As I always say, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.